Hey everyone, Andy here with RNA Landscaping. Today we got Brian here from Lawn Doctor to answer a couple questions for us. So we get a lot of these questions, and really the question that we want to answer today is the fall a good time to seed the lawn? So I'm not the lawn expert when it comes to grass growth or anything like that. So obviously we got Brian here from Lawn Doctor. This is what he does, and is, I don't know, 24/7 it seems like. So we got him here so he can answer the questions for us. So Brian, is the fall a good time to reseed your lawn?
Thanks for having me, Andy. And absolutely, actually, fall is the best time all year to seed your lawn.
Okay.
If you look at Michigan State's lawn extension or a lot of the experts online, if you Google it, they'll say August 15th to September 15th is usually the primary time to seed your lawn. I like the month of September mostly, even into October. And it all just depends on our, lovely Michigan weather.
Yeah,
Because,
it's crazy.
yep, it can change. Obviously, it changes all the time. But why? The question is, why is fall seeding better than spring? Well, one thing automatically is shorter days. Moisture is the biggest asset to growing grass. So when we seed your lawn in the fall, we typically have cooler nights. So we're not competing with crabgrass like we do with spring seedings. And with the cooler nights and shorter days, you're getting a lot more value out of your watering. So the soil's going to stay moist longer. You're having less weeds. That's when the weeds are starting to die down. This is the time where, your cool season turfs really do their best. This is where we go from, if we're looking at an established lawn, in the spring and fall, you're watering 3 times a week, whereas the summer, you're watering daily. When you get into the fall, if you water in the morning, the lawn can stay, you can get away with a lot of times just watering twice a day on new seed in the fall. I always recommend staying with 3 times a day and monitoring it to keep that top inch of topsoil moist, because that's the most essential thing to growing the grass. But you definitely get much better results in the fall. Now, I understand, like with your lawn, Andy, you built a house, and on the lakeside, you needed grass. So we seeded your lawn in the spring there, and then we came back in the fall and seeded. And, we saw a faster result of grass growth by the fall seeding. We seed every week throughout the year. And why? Because, most families, that build new homes, have kids, they have dogs, and you don't want them walking through the mud. You don't want them tracking it in and you get sick of wiping their feet off. But just remember too, that seeding is, long-term is the best way to have a beautiful lawn, as long as it's maintained appropriately. But any type of seed, whether you do hydro seed, whether you do sod, they're going to require water, a lot of watering, and more frequency and less length of time. So, 10 to 15 minutes a zone, 3 times a day is what I recommend for the fall seedings, and then monitor it. If you water it, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on your second watering, and at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, the soil's still moist, then you probably don't need to saturate it anymore. But you just need to make sure that top inch of topsoil is moist. As long as you keep that moist, you'll see great grass growth. That's why you'll see, if you've seeded lawns in yourself or had new homes built, you'll see usually the sides of the house or the yards that get the most shade is where the grass comes in the fastest and the grass comes in the best, because it's holding moisture better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
What's that?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and it's funny you say that because, obviously, just so everybody knows, we just got done building a home, and we had to have Brian come out here a little early, and just, obviously, we didn't want, a mud pit in our yard, so we obviously had to have him seed some. Then he also came back in the fall and did some seeding too for us. But it's amazing, like you said, Brian, it's amazing the difference that you can see. Obviously, yeah, we did get grass to come up, but it's really amazing to see just the difference in just the time of the year. of when the grass grows. So it's very accurate, when it comes to. So one other question I had too for everybody listening, because I know sometimes it gets a little confusing, is when we say the fall, I mean, what time are you thinking? Like obviously every fall and every summer and everything's differently, but what are you looking for when you say fall? I mean,
like I said before, the month of September, and the key is that we have an adequate time where we're getting cooler nights. Crabgrass isn't germinating. August 15th, crabgrass can still be germinating. And we're at such a close point between August 15th and September 15th to where I don't want the crabgrass to be germinating when we're seeding it. I want to have those cooler nights, those shorter days when we seed the lawn, but we want to be able to seed it. You be able to water it 2 to 3 times a day and get it established to an extent before we start getting too cold the temperatures and the grass starts going dormant. Now, rest assured, and that's a common question that we'll get from the hundreds of seedings we do every fall, is what should I expect? How much grass will I see this fall? Well, has a lot to do with Mother Nature. We're going to do our part. You do your part on the watering and mowing, and hopefully Mother Nature does her part and gives us a couple months for that grass to really come in for you. If it only comes in for a month and then we get an early fall and we get snow in October and it cools off and the grass goes dormant early, it's not a big deal. Your grass is planted, it's already got started to germinate, and it will continue to get more established. And that's why I extend my wishes to customers for Lawn Doctor, because I stay with you along the whole ride. Whereas a lot of companies, if you need it reseeded, that's another charge. You need it done, that's another charge. Where I will reseed your lawn, I guarantee my seeding as long as you're letting me continue to fertilize it and take care of the weeds to get it established appropriately. So, there's a lot of things that can happen in Michigan lawns, and, there's many different ways, and you can always reach out to me or to Andy if you have any questions, whether I'm doing it for you or whether you want it done yourself, because I just like beautiful green neighborhoods.
Absolutely, I do too. I think there's nothing more promising, when you see a nice green lawn. Everybody just, I don't know, it just makes you happy. At least for me, I like to walk out just barefoot, right? And you can't do that if you don't have a nice green lawn. So
absolutely
nice. Hey, one other quick question. I'm going to let you go off on your little, I know you're very super passionate about this. So about your how Lawn Doctor actually reseeds these lawns. I know that they have obviously some, I don't know, you can tell me some different technology or something that they use to reseed these. So give me just a little quick brief on letting everybody hear kind of what makes you guys so special.
Well, good question. There's the typical ways you can seed your lawn is you can have sod put down. You can hydro seed it where they spray it on your lawn. Or you can have it slit seeded where they till it up and put it in kind of like, they sow in a cornfield. Whereas we have our own patented power seeder, which you can YouTube Lawn Doctor Power Seeding to see my patented machine in action, where we actually have it's an expensive machine that agitates the soil. It picks the dirt up, mixes it with the seed, and puts it back down in the ground for you. So the nice thing about it is for 2 reasons. One, we can install a brand new lawn for you. It's not going to come in rows like a slit seeder would, but it's planted in the soil, so it's not going to wash out like with what hydro seeding would. But it comes in full. Okay, so that's why our power seeding is great. The other thing nice about my power seeding is, if say that seeded lawn, the sprinklers weren't hitting an area as well, or this area got too much heat and you weren't watering it enough, and so it's still bare in that area. Or, which is very common, is you have a house you just bought, an existing house, where there's a lot of bare areas in it because it was too much shade and you had 3 trees removed. Okay, the nice thing about my power seeder is I could run that through an active lawn, and I can put new seed in, fill in the bare areas without damaging any of the grass that's already there. And there's no other machine that can do that. So.
All right, well, that sounds nice. So just so everybody knows, obviously, like I just said, obviously we just seeded our lawn, got our lawn taken care of. Obviously, with me working at RNA Landscaping, I have a ton of opportunity. I can choose what I want, but obviously, I really believe in what Brian does from Lawn Doctor and his machine, this fancy machine, I guess. Because I've seen it. I've seen obviously other customers that have had sod, have had hydro seed, and then have lawns done by Brian from Lawn Doctor, and just have really seen the difference, and like when I specifically are asking, the quality of a lawn, like I don't care what it looks like, instantly, because I know, that's going to change. So what I really look for when I'm looking at like a customer's lawn is what's going to, what's the best, a year or 2 or 3 years down the road, like what's going to be the best looking lawn. So here, obviously, Brian, I really like, is the power seeding. So that's what we use. That's what we recommend. That's what we did our house with. So anyways, thanks again, Brian, so much for coming on today, answering our customers' questions. Hopefully this was really helpful. If there's any other questions that we can answer for you, either feel free to either message us, comment on, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any of that kind of stuff. Give us a call if you have a question, whatever it takes. If I don't know the answer, we can get Brian back here again from Lawn Doctor. He can answer the questions for us, and we'll go from there. So thanks again, Brian, and hopefully this helps. Thanks.
Thanks, Andy, for having me.
Yep. Have a good day.
You too, bud.